Hello and welcome back to the JW Thoughts channel. My name is Wally and today we are looking at a governing body update. There's a little bit of trouble in paradise that we get to talk about. Something's going on at Bethel that I think a lot of Bethelites are none too happy to hear about. A lot of Jehovah's Witnesses in general might not be too happy to hear about. And also I get my neener hands out. I don't know what the heck that just was, but I did it. I would like to take this time to make fun of the governing body for their just ineptitude of handling the organization's resources in a way that is not going to offend normal Jehovah's Witnesses, because I think at the heart of what they go into is just their insecurity, just full, like their faces all red, they're embarrassed, they're sweating. That's what I'm reading into this. So we got another governing body update with Jeffrey Jackson. Let's do the thing.
Recently, the governing body decided that starting January 1, 2026, brothers 80 years of age or older will no longer serve as members of a branch committee. However, these dear brothers will serve as consultants to the branch committee. In this way, their experience will continue to benefit branch committees and the Bethel families. We deeply appreciate the fine work of these faithful brothers and their dear wives.
Now it feels like the third, fourth, maybe even fifth time that they've brought this up, that they are, the governing body, have made some changes to Bethel service, and anyone 80 years or older is not going to serve on any of the committees, but they will just be consultants. And a lot of the narrative around Bethel service has been shifting for the organization. During the annual meeting, there was a pretty significant announcement made that Bethel service was no longer going to be viewed as a full-time, lifelong assignment that people would be taking. For those of you that don't know, a lot of people, whenever they go to a Bethel, that's just a Hebrew word for house god, Bethel, and it's just the nomenclature that Jehovah's Witnesses use for their headquarters in various locations all around the world. So there is like a England Bethel, there's a America Bethel, there's a South American Bethel, there's a Mexico Bethel, they're all over the place, right? And so when people would go there, they'd apply when they're, 19 years old, 20 years old or so, and they would get an assignment there. And a lot of people, I can say this from firsthand experience, my dad's cousin, he was there, he was very close with the family, and he would always come to visit, or we would fly him out, or sometimes we'd go over to New York and see him. He applied when he was 19, and he's got to be 60 now, and as far as I know, I think he's still there. So he has spent his entire life at Bethel. And so for the organization to come out and say, well, we no longer want people to view this as a lifelong thing. It's going to be temporary, where you'll get some training, we'll send you out, we'll bring new people in, and it's more of cyclical, essentially. So this is no doubt been some disturbing news for a lot of Jehovah's Witnesses, because this was seen as like a badge of honor. I am a Bethelite. Oh, how many years were you there? And then they tell you. But this is in correlation with something that someone sent me, or they sent me a link to a Reddit post where someone had brought up this letter that had gone out to all those in special full-time service with Bethel or design construction enrollment. And I thought it was a little bit interesting, so let's take a quick peek-see at it. We realize that the recent announcement about Bethel service may have stirred various emotions in many. This is classic governing body delusional language of like, there is a fire going on and they're trying not to panic. Using terms like, there's some may have, stirred various emotions. People were pissed. People were mad. People were not happy, especially because that there's going to be an arbitrary sort of cutoff time. And if you fall outside of that, your butt could be in a lot of trouble. Everyone could put this together very easily in their mind. Well, what age are they going to kick people out? We'll get to that here in a second. Knowing that Bethel service will no longer be viewed as a permanent assignment can naturally lead to questions about the future, especially if you have served at Bethel for many years. Of course, barring exceptional circumstances, those 60 and over will continue to be cared for in Bethel. Whatever your circumstances may be, Jehovah understands your feelings and will help you cope with... It just makes me laugh. Will help you cope with internal anxieties. At the same time, he gives us a loving reminder, train yourself with godly devotion, blah, blah, blah. So 60 years, if you are in your 40s, you've been at Bethel for 20, 30 years. If you're in your 50s, been there for 30, 40 years, you might have to face the music of going back into Satan's system. Jehovah's Witnesses view Bethel as a 1.0 beta version of their future reward. The thing that they're all after is getting to paradise. And they view these little Bethel assignments as a beta version of paradise. You are working for Jehovah all day long. You are surrounded by other Jehovah's Witnesses, and you are insulated from a lot of the anxieties and stress of normal, everyday life for regular people. It's kind of like a mini version of paradise. And so now that people know that after they've been living in the beta version of paradise, but, they're going to shut the servers down so they can, wait for the official launch date in the real paradise, but they have to go out there and well, what are we going to do after I've spent all of this time? What in tarnation am I going to do? Go out there and work in an office? Find a real job? Find a house? In this economy, with no work experience, zero work experience, the only thing that you have to go off of, which is pretty profound within the organization. I don't know why I was thinking about this. I actually could tell you exactly why I was thinking about this on my drive to the gym this morning. I saw a truck that reminded me of one my brother has or had, couldn't tell you. And it just made me think of people that are Jehovah's Witnesses running their own business. And a lot of times it can actually be easier if you are a witness because there is such a big social network. And people will always be willing to help you out and, give you leads or give you jobs or whatever the case might be. So he's in a construction field and he was able to, I think do fairly well for himself because of all of those connections and things that you can make. And he was a Bethelite as well. So people always have a little special place in their heart for someone that used to serve in Bethel. So that's the only severance that they have is they have this massive network of people that they can draw on, and at least that's how it works here in Washington. I don't know, maybe it's different other places. I guess I shouldn't just speak in total generalities here, but from my experience and what I've observed, people that do leave Bethel, the only thing that they have to build their life back with is the support of other Jehovah's Witnesses. They don't get any type of anything from the organization itself. But it is interesting that they use this language that is so blatantly obvious. People are mad. People are worried. People are shitting bricks. They are panicking because of the decision that the governing body made. And the whole thing, I won't read it. It's pretty boring. But they just try and tell people, well, remember this Bible character. He was very generous and humble, so you should be like him. It's just a bunch of nonsense words that aren't actually going to do anything to move the needle on addressing someone's anxiety that they're facing. Now, that's about all I have to say for the Bethel changes. I know I've already talked about that a lot, but let's get into Act 2, where they want to discuss the good news according to Jesus. And they are trying so hard to convince people that this was a good idea. So let's just take a look. I'll let him explain it, and then I'll start my yapping.
A highlight of our last two conventions has been the first 3 episodes from the video series, The Good News According to Jesus. When it was first announced at the annual meeting in 2020, there was a lot of excitement. But some may have wondered, will it be available in my language? with Jehovah's blessing. The first episode was initially translated into some 450 languages. The good news according to Jesus is now available to even more people. So far, it has been produced in at least 514 languages. Over 80 of these languages previously had no translation of the Gospels at all. More than 40 of those languages are sign languages.
Now, I know that there are going to be the hyper-vigilant, turbo Jehovah's Witness brain fog people that will not be able to have any sort of 1% of their brain being critical of the organization. My family is very much like that, where it's like it has to be every single word that they say is absolutely the best thing ever. So I get that. And I reckon that most of the people that are happy about this good news according to Jesus fall into that category. Because I've watched these things multiple times to make videos about them, and they are laughably terrible. I mean, genuinely, there are times when nothing happens on screen for 30 seconds and people just stare off into camera C. It's so bad. And then after they do start talking, it's just something that's already in the Bible, or an Australian narrator reading from the Bible. They even go so far, I know I've said this before, but doing the genealogy of Jesus, son of him, son of Sam, son of Tim, son of my asshole. They just keep on going and going and going. It's so unbelievably boring. Just trying to make videos about it was brutal because nothing happened. And so they are going to have to grasp at straws to explain themselves. They went and they built an entire facsimile of an ancient city in order to shoot this thing. They bought a lot of expensive equipment in order to make this. A lot of by Jeffrey Jackson's out of his own mouth during the annual meeting, he said, "Why has the governing body spent millions making this?" And the audience went quiet. He looked around like, oh, I thought, a lot of people would be nodding with me. He looked very awkward. I made an entire video on that talk, but it was an uncomfortable moment for him. You could see it in his face. And he's like, well, we know why, because it's cool, right? And it's not cool because they're doing something that has already been done better by other production companies. It's not necessary. They don't add anything to the narrative of Jesus and seeing Jesus. Oh man, well, you can actually see him. You're just seeing some Australian blokes wandering around in fields, staring off into camera C. It's terrible. It is unwatchable. Every video that I've made about that has done horrible. It's always a 10. YouTube will tell you where the video ranks in the last 10 that you've made. Everyone is a 9 or a 10. It's always on the bottom. No one cares about it. So I just find it so hard to believe that the thing that's going to make people excited about it was the languages. This is an old Watchtower thing that they're using to pat themselves on the back that they're really scraping at here in 2026, because the translation thing used to be cool, but man, translation is so fast and it's so efficient and it's so instant with the development of technology. Yes, I'll give it up to Watchtower. They have been trailblazers when it comes to translation of things. But now in the modern time, it's just not impressive anymore. You're not going to be able to find too many people that are like, whoa, you translated in that many languages, because they'll say, well, you trained an AI bot to do that, right? Whoop-de-doo. No one's going to be impressed that you train an AI bot to do something. That's not something to pat yourself on the back. It's just not. So the idea behind this whole convention is absolutely insane. But they do some interviews with people talking about how great the convention is, and I think they're actually pretty funny.
Now, the vast majority of people can enjoy the good news according to Jesus in a language they understand. How are people responding? Let's hear from a few.
At the convention, it was a very heartwarming experience because it was the first time that a feature-length drama was shown with Greenlandic dubbing. Everyone in the audience was very focused and it was all quiet.
I got completely drawn in, pulled into the story. Yeah, it was so good.
We invited one deaf person to attend the regional convention. He came on Saturday. However, when he saw that it was a religious meeting, he wasn't very pleased. But when we told him that there is a drama prepared in sign language and that he could just watch the drama and leave after that, he agreed. After watching the drama, he really enjoyed it. He attended the entire meeting.
So you have to remember that whenever they're putting together this governing body update, they are trying to get like some of the best experiences. You know, they really want to drive the point home. Like, wow, okay, we're going to go all around the world and really find the best of the results that have come out from having this good news according to Jesus that that took millions of dollars and years to produce. And this one is insane. I know what's going on here. Watchtower, I guess, chooses not to know what's going on here. So let me break it down for you here, for anyone that doesn't know. So this guy gets invited to a convention, and he shows up, and he's mad because it's a religious convention. I can tell you with near 100% certainty why that guy showed up to the convention. He didn't care about what message. He didn't even know what he was going to. Why would a man randomly go to a convention with people he doesn't know about a topic he doesn't know? I'll give you 3 seconds to put it together. He was probably going because he was invited by 2 women that he thought were pretty. And he's like, oh, hey, I'll go anywhere. Sure, yeah. Convention? Yeah, let's go. Sure, yeah. I mean, I didn't think dating was this easy. He just showed up to my door. Let's go. I've seen this happen so many times. Like, it's hard to imagine a scenario where that's not the case. Why would he be mad that he showed up to a religious convention if he knew it was a religious convention, like he had already processed it? So then they say, oh, well, you could just stay. You can just stay. It's fine. We're going to have a movie. You want to sit down and watch a movie with us? And he's probably like, fine, I guess, and probably sat with them or near them because that's what people do when they have someone that they invite shows up to one of these conventions. And he probably was like, well, I guess I'm here now. I may as well stick around because, hey, I still think they're kind of cute. I'm fairly confident. I'm really confident that that's exactly what happened. And nothing tickles me more than thinking about Watchtower having a global effort trying to get the best stories that they could put together for how magnificent and wonderful the convention was. And they put this in there. Like, how stupid do you have to be to not realize the subtext of what's actually going on in this situation? Like, wake up, you fools. Maybe I'm going to have egg on my face. Gonna's not a word. And maybe I'm completely wrong here. Maybe I'm on the crack pipe. Maybe comment down below if you think I'm nuts or I'm misreading the situation. But I don't really see how it's not that's going on here. So anyway, this is basically like the sum total of their singing praises to the convention. It's like, well, it was in a language, or we invited people that didn't want to go to a religious convention, but they stayed anyway. Do you think that the good news according to Jesus was the reason that someone that doesn't want to go to a religious convention would stay at a religious question? Ask yourself that question, Watchtower, because come on.
When I saw Zechariah and the angels speaking my own mother tongue,
Ove Zekaria, chifukwa pemphero lawo lopembedzera liwe ndithu.
I actually felt very excited and encouraged. I even felt that Jehovah really cares about me. I said in my heart, this video was really prepared for me.
I think this is one of the greatest gifts Jehovah has given me since I started serving him.
Okay, Watchtower, I'm going to give you a little bit of marketing advice here. If you want to include testimonials to make yourself feel better about spending millions of people's hard-earned doubloons on a recreation of the gospel accounts, and you're trying to put together like a video to market that, to make people say, we didn't waste money, look at how wonderful it is. You need to show that video to non-Jehovah's Witnesses and have them, in their own words, express their true and authentic feelings about it. Now, let me ask anyone that's seen these things, what do you think the Rotten Tomatoes score? What do you think IMDb? What do you think the Redditors will have to say about the good news according to Jesus? Like, raw, authentic. Sure, you can get this guy that says, I think it's one of the best. I mean, he doesn't say it. It's a voiceover. I think it's one of the best things that's ever happened to me. I've nothing better in my entire life has ever happened to me until I was not even aware that I was alive until I saw the good news according to Jesus. Get people like for their honest, real world reactions. Now, they do have in the next section someone that isn't a Jehovah's Witness. They don't have that. I'll just play the clip and then I'll talk about it.
The good news according to Jesus also created good opportunities to give a witness. We're sure you'll enjoy the following experience.
I'd been having really nice spiritual conversations with a coworker who has a real love for the Bible. I invited her to the convention, but unfortunately she couldn't attend, so I sent her episodes 1, 2, and 3 of The Good News According to Jesus. She loved them. She loved them so much that she delayed watching episode 3 for a few weeks because she didn't want it to end. She especially appreciated the fact that she knew the script. She could open her Bible and simply follow along. I think it's her appreciation for the videos that led her to accept the study. We've studied so far through lesson 6 of the Enjoy Life Forever book. She's enjoying her study. She's attended 2 meetings, which she's also enjoyed. And it brings me so much joy to just see the appreciation that she has for these beautiful treasures from Jehovah.
To be fair, like I said, there's going to be a tiny percentage of people that will enjoy this. Very, very hardcore religious. They would just like drink down anything that a religious media company would create. Now, I can see that. Like I'm very aware that those movies exist out there, that those YouTube channels exist out there, and there are people that very much enjoy them. But they are such a tiny percentage. And when you contrast that with the effort and the time and the energy and the money that's being spent on this good news according to Jesus, and you contrast that with what Watchtower as an organization does to actually, in the real world, help and improve people's lives. You don't see from Watchtower things that you see from other religious entities. Do you see programs designed to help families? No. Do you see programs to help people that don't have adequate housing? Nope. Groceries or food? Nope. Work? Nope. Education? Nope. Hospitals? Nope. Nothing. They don't have anything that helps people. What they do is they make media, and the media they make sucks. It sucks unbelievably bad.
What a nice experience. And just think, now when you meet someone who says, Jehovah's Witnesses don't believe in Jesus, we have a great answer in the good news according to Jesus.
Oh boy. So when people say Jehovah's Witnesses don't believe in Jesus, they're not saying that y'all don't believe in Jesus. Like, that's not what they're saying. They're saying that there is a difference in how you guys represent and portray, like, who Jesus is in your religion as being the Son of God versus the embodiment or part of God. That is what they mean when they say that. This is not a reply to the question being asked. When someone says, well, you Jehovah's Witnesses don't believe in Jesus, and you say, well, look at this. We have a book. It's got Jesus on the cover. Clearly we believe in Jesus. You will look like an idiot. You will look like a damn fool, because obviously that is not the question being asked. I can say this from experience. I can say that they are being damn fools because I'm talking about myself. I was this person when challenged as one of Jehovah's Witnesses, and I proudly knock on someone's door and they would hit me with the accusatory, you don't believe in Jesus, blah, blah, blah. And I would whip out a book or a magazine that says, oh, we don't believe in Jesus? Well, take this, for example. Bam! Jesus right on the cover. Do you think I convinced a single person that, oh, well, clearly I'm so sorry. I didn't realize that you guys believed in Jesus. I apologize. I must have been misinformed. I don't know where I got That never happened. They would look at me, and I often think about people's faces that I preach to and like just the little nuances. I wish my memory wasn't as good as it is, but it does just remember things. That's how it works. But I can see their faces and the sheer annoyance that they had when that was my reply. And it's not just with the Jesus thing. That's a classic Jehovah's Witness thing. Hey, let's make this about something it's not. Jingling keys over here, jingling keys. Like, that's just what they do. But I can see how just annoyed they were. And I feel now, being on the outside, how annoyed I am to even hear a governing body member, the very top of this religious organization, is playing the fool. Jeffrey Jackson, you are a fool. No one asking the question, you guys don't believe in Jesus, is suddenly going to be like, well, you got me. You guys made a whole ass movie about Jesus. Clearly I was wrong. No one's going to say that. You know that's not the question that they're asking. You know that's not what they're asking. Anyway, this whole governing body update was kind of boring, kind of interesting. Hopefully I made it at least a little bit entertaining. There's some JW news for you guys. Anyway, with all that being said, stay safe, be kind, and don't forget to spend more time loving the things you love than hating the things you hate. Now go out there, get some exercise. It's January. Got to hit goals, and have a good ass day.